Gavin, one other conspiracy theory that was kind of dominating yesterday was this response from Donald Trump being potentially manipulated or entirely AI generated. Do you want to play this a little bit for people, and then we can talk about the prevailing conspiracy that it was artificially enhanced, at least to some degree?
Yeah, even if we just watch the first minute, I think it gets to the moment, and then we can watch a more close-up video. But yeah, this theory is really taken off. And honestly, I said this when AI was introduced. The worst part about AI is now this new culture that we live in where every single video has to be endlessly fucking scrutinized by the entire public, and nobody knows what to believe. It's very dystopian. I really don't know how to describe it. Like, there's nothing else in my entire lifetime where we've had to question things this much. And I've even fallen for AI videos at this point. Like at the beginning of the rollout, I was like, are you kidding me? It's so obvious. You can always tell. But since then, there have been multiple videos that I watched and then later had to, find out that was actually AI generated. So it's even as someone who, is very familiar with how a camera works. I'm a filmmaker. I use Photoshop constantly. I'm very aware of how trickery happens. I know all the tricks, right? But even I'm at this point now where I'm like, I can't say. I do not have an expert opinion on whether or not this video was manipulated by AI. It's very hard for me to know. Part of me says, come on, guys, like chill. Not everything is AI generated. Just because there's a weird cut in this video doesn't make it AI. But part of me says, who fucking knows, bro? Deepfake technology is this good. You literally could deepfake this and make it this good. So who am I to say?
Yeah, I think, and we can talk about it in more depth. I think my opinion is that this was at least artificially enhanced and touched up to make Donald Trump look better. I think that there's clear signs that, potentially the video was, colored up, oh, let's touch up his face. Let's make him look not
with
as
AI
shitty.
Or just with filters.
It could have just been filters. I'm not prepared to say it was artificial intelligence, but I do think if you compare the footage of Donald Trump in this to the footage that I can show of him at the 9/11 memorial services this morning, he does not look like the same guy who could have released it last night.
Yeah, well, we'll take a look at that next because a lot of people think he, clearly is showing signs of having had a stroke, which, again, we'll take a look at in a second. Again, I'm still a little bit skeptical about all of this because it seems like people are basing all this speculation off of the photos that actually make that case, and they're ignoring the evidence that does not make that case. Like, did you see the video of Trump interacting with the press briefly this morning where he talked about how there's a manhunt underway? He looked pretty normal in that video to me. He was talking. He didn't seem like he just suffered a stroke. But of course, the evidence that people are pointing to is like the 5 seconds of video where it does kind of look like he's stroking out or whatever.
Like George H.W. Bush about a few years back.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. And then also some people are like the same people that are calling this AI generated, then they'll turn around and use AI to enhance a photo of Trump to be like, see, look, he's had a stroke. And then they just enhanced it with AI. And it's like, the reason it looks like he had a stroke is because this weird AI filter you put on top of him. That's not actually like they, the really blurry photos, they enhance it with AI. It's like, yeah, of course it's going to make it look weird if you use AI. So I don't know. It's genuinely one of those things where I really want to believe that he's had a stroke or that he's having strokes and stuff like that. I also kind of feel like the entire country is in this mass state of delusion and like they're in denial and everyone just wants this to happen and they want Trump to die so bad that they're all just pretending that it's happening. I don't know.
I think it could be a mass hysteria. Absolutely. And then again, a little bit of it could be exactly what you pointed out. Like I hadn't even seen the footage of him greeting the reporters. I was like, no, look at this fucking footage right here, bro. He looks like he just had a fucking stroke, bro. So it's hard, right? Because you're constantly inundated with all this. We've been rambling a lot, so I'll go ahead and play this video. But one thing's for sure, it is not good for the fucking country when we don't have a shared understanding of what is truth and what is legitimate. And that's been something that has been unraveling for a long time now. But once you get into this, like I can't even know for sure if a video that the president of the United States released from his account is AI manipulated or not. We're in fucking trouble, because if Gavin and I can't figure it out, then there's no way my fucking grandmother, when she's scrolling the internet looking for the news, is going to be able to figure it out.
I mean, yeah, the other day, Joe Rogan fell for the most obvious AI video ever of Tim Walz running down the stairs.
Oh, God, I saw that. Joe Rogan is a fucking idiot, though.
And he was like literally battling his fucking idiot. What's the guy?
Jamie?
Jamie was like, bro, this is fake. And Joe's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. That is not fake. And then he's like, okay, eventually he has to admit that it is. The most obvious AI I've ever fucking seen. Like if you think that's not AI, then you genuinely need to get glasses. Like the only way I could understand not realizing that
That
it's
one was
fake.
obviously fake.
Right. Unless you're like so your eyesight is just so bad that you're just like squinting like what?
And that also is a problem with older people, right? When I look at my
Yeah.
dad using his phone, this dude has it all fucking zoomed into giant text messages. He has to put his glasses on before. No offense to that. I'm not shading you. I'm just saying, like, when you get old, that shit happens.
Yeah, that is a huge part of the reason why old people fall for AI more than young people.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror.
Horror.
Charlie was a patriot.
Horror. Shock and
devoted
horror.
His life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven.
LOL.
Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire.
Because if I'm being real, watching it right now, I don't know if I'm getting big AI vibes from it. I think his voice sounds exactly correct, which is the one thing that makes me believe, okay, they've just touched up his appearance a lot. The hand thing looks weird, and I know everybody looks at hands because AI can't do them very well. But to me, he sounds like Donald Trump does.
Yeah, and let's look over here at this video that Matt Binder shared. Where he says this, because Matt Binder, this is the first time I saw it, and I was like, damn, Matt Binder is someone who I generally, it doesn't just post conspiratorial slop. Like I trust his analysis for the most part. So when I saw this, I was like, damn, Matt Binder thinks this is AI. Okay, I guess we should take another look here. He says that his hands and body barely move for the entire video, which we can see here if you literally just like scroll through it. It's true. Like his hands and body basically barely move a single time, which is, possible, if you're really like locked in and you're just paying attention. Not everyone talks with their hands. Some people do just like lock in a little bit more when they're delivering.
Couldn't be me.
Now, I definitely wouldn't be me either, but it is possible. That one's not to me like a dead giveaway necessarily. But let's take a look here, Zach. This is a moment that a lot of people are pointing to that seems to be weird, where like his hands and tie kind of warp together, and it's unclear if it's because of AI or if it's because of like a cut in the video. Let's take a quick look.
Charlie was a patriot. Horror. Charlie was a patriot.
This is kind of shit you can drive yourself crazy watching, though.
Yeah.
And I think Matt did follow up after a lot of people were like, hey, are you spreading conspiracy theories? And he was like, I'm not saying it is AI. I'm saying it looks like AI. And it does feel uncanny valley. And I think that the most likely, like the Occam's razor of it, is that it is a weird coloring they put on the video. That was the thing that made the most sense to me that I saw. I was like, oh, this could be a color grading and also a sloppy cut where they did multiple takes on this video.
Yeah. Also, here's the thing, guys. A lot of people don't know this because they don't spend as much time editing fucking videos as I do and Zach does. But increasingly, artificial intelligence, AI, is being integrated into all the video editing softwares, and that includes filters. So that means that, like, if you're using an AI filter to upscale footage to make it look higher quality than it was shot at, sometimes that will create weird AI artifacts on screen. A good example of that is the 4K restoration that Criterion released for David Lynch's Inland Empire. And David Lynch like used this weird AI software to upscale.
Some people were pissed about that.
I was pretty pissed about it, specifically in retrospect. The more you look at it, the more you can see the way the AI, like now that you're used to AI, you see the trademarks of it more in that transfer. But if you watch that transfer, you will see moments like this,
millions in tonight,
with people's eyes and fingers and stuff like that, because again, it's AI. So it's possible they did shoot this video, but then they put some filter on top of it or used some editing tool that was AI assisted to try to upscale it a little bit or make Trump look less on the brink of death, right? To make his skin look more saturated, to bring out the detail in the background, stuff like that. So it's definitely possible. Like I said, AI is increasingly being integrated, whether you like it or not, which I don't. It's being integrated into all these editing tools like DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, Photoshop. It's here, right?
Low-key, it's heat in Photoshop. It allows dummies like me to really get the background removed properly. But I understand.
That is one of the nice things
it's
about
so
it.
much.
Actually,
Gavin knows. He's like, oh, as soon as that happened, I watched Zach's thumbnails get 100 times better. It was like, wow, you just click 2 buttons and you can you don't have to manually, because I do not have the patience for that shit. But yeah, I think also one thing is if you look at the reds and blues behind him on the flags, that also kind of leads to the fact that they did an entire frame adjustment. That is not how, if you walked into the White House, the color paletting of that room would be.
Looks like it was shot on Technicolor or something.
Exactly. And it looks like what happens whenever somebody goes on Instagram, does the auto iPhone filter, and it just makes everything pop a little bit. And I'm no stranger to that. Whenever I take a really bomb looking picture of my food, I always do the like pop everything and make it look awesome, because it looks good when you take a picture of your food and do that. But when you have a human being that everybody knows exactly what you look like, and you're sitting in front of a bunch of flags and everybody knows what those look like the exposure is different than it would be normally on a video camera. And it's to make him look rosier and less pale, because he's been extremely neurotic and sensitive about his appearance, even more so than usual.
Yep, 100%. So again, that's my theory as far as the AI tools that they probably use to help touch this up a little bit. It's also possible, guys, like cameras are not perfect machines. I've shot footage that has weird camera glitchy shit going on that I to this day don't really understand or couldn't explain to you. Like there's a shot in No Clip 3, the third film in my found footage series that I'm editing right now. There's a shot that I literally don't know what's happening in the shot. It's just of a wall, and there's like a vending machine next to the wall. And as I got closer, genuinely the wall seems to warp in this really trippy way that, again, it's not an effect. It's not an edit. It's no camera trickery. It's almost like I saw a fucking ghost, or I captured a freaking, paranormal event in the camera. If anyone saw that footage, they almost wouldn't believe that it's raw footage. I'll show it to you sometime. It's very subtle, but it is weird enough that it's like, what? Like, how did that happen? It's like I said, it's probably one of my favorite shots I've ever filmed, just because it's so fucking weird. It's like paranormal almost. So it is true that
might be, the next Ghost Hunter Sci-Fi Channel. Don't steal my my guy away from me, everybody. He's got some rare footage, but I need him on the mic at least 4 days a week.
So yeah, again, that's one of the things I hate so much about this AI culture. It's like now everything is questioned, even shit that like what pissed me off the most, Zach. I remember you told me about this. We had Matt from the Letter Hack, obviously, who does all of our artwork. He designed the poster for our 72 hours of Amtrak Hell documentary. And you said someone in the comments said it looked like it was AI generated.
Yeah.
And we go out of our fucking way to pay actual artists to do the art. And then we still have assholes being like, is this AI? Did you use AI? It's like, dude, how much do we have to fucking brag about this? And the reason why now some human art looks AI or whatever is because the AI is using the human art to train itself. So it's really a nightmare scenario.
Oh, great point. And to just kind of throw up on screen this other video that I was mentioning earlier of Donald Trump when he hasn't been, touched up by AI or by any kind of I guess post-production tools, filters, etc. This is the video I saw, and then I'm excited to see the other one that you saw from this morning, because I saw this tweet from Emma Vigeland, said, looking good. Let's see what old Donnie looks like the morning after Charlie Kirk was taken down.
Hilda E. Taylor.
I guess there's no real audio commentary for this, but you guys can just see him. Doesn't he look like George Herbert Walker Bush when he got wheeled out at that one football game towards the end of his life? He looks like the dude like Barnacle Boy from fucking SpongeBob, but even 15, 20 years older. I mean, it doesn't look good. That does not look like the guy who was speaking. I mean, it kind of does, but he just looks way less sharp. He looks less vibrant. He looks less he looks like a dude that's lost the luster that he had the evening before.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the first video we've seen of Trump looking bored and pissed off during one of these stupid ceremonies. Even at his own birthday party, parade, he looked downright fucking pissed off and bored throughout most of it, probably because of how dog shit it was.
Nobody gave a shit about it.
No one cared. The soldiers weren't even marching properly, all that stuff. So it's not the first time we've seen him look just totally uninterested in something like this, but people have, zoomed in and shit on his face. And as you can see here, it does look like, his face looks a little bit strokey. Obviously, he's an old man. Maybe maybe he needs a new Botox injection, and that's why. It's hard to tell with stuff like this, right? Because it could just be the angle, it could just be whatever. But this is the one that I was talking about, Zach, where this morning at the press pool after the Pentagon memorial, Trump was confronted by some reporters. He says they have a virtual manhunt out there, which doesn't really make sense. Like what it's on Twitter. The manhunt's on fucking online, virtual. So maybe that's proof of the stroke. The fact that he doesn't even know how to fucking say a sentence properly. But as you can see here, I don't think he looks all that irregular. I think this is, again, one of those pieces of evidence that people are kind of excluding or omitting when they're making the case that he's had a stroke. So let's take a look.
They have a virtual manhunt out there, so we'll see what happens. And we hope we get
That one's AI, actually, Gavin. That's the AI. That doesn't sound like Donald Trump at all.
It is weird that whoever this reporter is doesn't seemingly have a microphone attached to their phone. Like they literally have a phone in the president's face recording
from far away too.
I mean, from kind of far away, but it's pretty close. You'd think that they'd at least have like a microphone on their phone so that they could catch the decent audio.
Well, that's what I mean. Because if I'm like sitting way over here and you're talking into my camera, I mean, that's pretty far. Because whoever this is filming is standing behind that dude with the ear in the way, and probably does. You're right. Just has their phone out filmed like this. So I mean, kind of weird.
But don't you agree that he basically looks normal there?
Oh, yeah, he does. The only thing that's a little weird is his voice. And I would imagine I'm just hyper scrutinizing that because the audio's bad and the audio was really good in the video that we just watched of him in the Oval Office.
Right. So it's definitely weird. I want to believe that he's on the verge of, a big stroke that's gonna finish him off.
The cheeseburger from heaven.
Yeah. So, it's definitely weird stuff. It's weird stuff. And even if literally nothing is going on at all, and he's totally healthy, just as healthy as he was a year ago or whatever, like even if that's true, it still does just speak to the dystopian nature of the AI generated content that's so common now online and how no one knows what to believe. It's so easy to, at this point, make deep fakes, which are like this video itself. You were joking about it, but
it could be
a sophisticated, AI artist, quote unquote, could come up with something that looks just as realistic. Obviously, I don't think that, Emily Jasinski would tweet something like that out, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's at this point, not that hard to make shit that looks indecipherable from real video using deepfake technology. And obviously, if you really want to go down the conspiratorial rabbit hole, you can make the point that whatever AI technology we have access to, the government and the military and the fucking people that are actually in charge, their AI is probably 100 times better. Like they have access to the cream of the crop shit. So, again, not to get too conspiratorial.
Oh no, dude, you're so right. And honestly, I've been worried about AI. I remember the first time, you probably have a similar experience. I remember the first time I saw a deep fake that I was like, holy shit, man, this is fucking good. And it was a video of Tom Cruise washing dishes. Do you remember
What's
that
up,
shit?
TikTok? What's up, TikTok? Yeah, I love those ones.
I obviously you can nitpick them and scrutinize them and be like, obviously this isn't Tom Cruise. Fine. But when I saw that shit, when was that? 4 years ago?
Something like that, 4 or 5 years ago.
You think about, okay, we all have seen 5 years of progress happen there. The military has to have far more than that. And also a lot of the, consumer ready AI, programs, they are designed to have some protections when it comes to copyright. That not enough, obviously. They're all fucking making their money off of copyright, but a lot of them from like, if you're just like using it as a recreational user, they're not going to let you make a fucking deep fake of Donald Trump saying some shit. A lot of them have those built-in protections, even if you pay for it and even if you have a really good one, right? But the military is going to have designed their own. They're going to have designed their own software. All the technology that exists in the private sector, fine. The military went and made their own. I promise you they did. I guarantee you the CIA has their own fucking program.
I mean, they probably invented that shit before anyone actually had their hands on it as far as like the public marketplace goes.
100%. You got to figure some guys at Annapolis have been fucking doing this shit over and over and over again and perfecting the deep fake AI programming that the United States Navy, Army, Marines, Air Force is going to be using. The CIA is doing the exact same thing. And man, it does make you wonder, right? And it's super bad because we've all been, as a society over, I would say like the last 10 to 12 years, been battling with this, what does it mean for our shared consciousness? What does it mean for our society when we no longer have a universal truth? like there's no such thing as fact, there's no such thing as truth anymore. I think that we are hurtling towards that in a way that we can't even fathom with this AI technology. And
Might
this is
already
one
be
of those,
there.
yeah, this is one of those instances where you really have to look at it and be like, oh my gosh, like the genie's not going back in the bottle. This is one of those times where the American people cannot and probably will not come to the same page on what was the cause of this.
Right. So insane. And obviously, since we went live, it's still the case that the manhunt is underway for the shooter. Besides those photos that were released of the person of interest, it seems like this person is still completely at large after having successfully escaped. They obviously could be out of the state of Utah at this point, Zach. They could be far away if they got on the highway. Who knows what could happen, right? And another thing I was thinking about, I was kind of comparing this to the Luigi Mangione case, obviously, and 48 hours after that, a lot more photos of Luigi had come out from surveillance and video cameras, surveilling the area. But I was thinking about there's probably way more, literally 100 to 200 or 1,000 times more surveillance and more cameras in New York City and the surrounding area than in Provo,
and he
Utah.
was still able to get out of New York City.
And he was still able to get out. But think about how much less surveillance there is just in this random mass college town in Utah versus New York City. So it's definitely possible that this guy could literally be he could be in Mexico. I'm just saying, it's not impossible. He could literally be in Mexico or something.
Oh yeah. Or a lot of people were pointing out this happened in Utah, but Utah, Idaho, a lot of pockets of the broader West before you get to California, it does have a large right-wing history. Idaho in particular, Utah in particular, there is a long history of radical right-wing movements there of what are they called? Right-wing militias and all of these different groups of people that get together and they train with weapons and they, fantasize about the fall of the United States government when the race war happens and all these kinds of lunatic fringe alt-right neo-Nazi movements that have taken, cover there and basically carved out a place in the wilderness for themselves. Ruby Ridge, I think, was one of the places in Idaho where there was a big alt-right inspiring thing. It inspired Timothy McVeigh to do the Oklahoma City bombings, right?
Remember when those guys in I think it was Washington or Oregon or something, they took over the government building?
Yeah, and then they didn't get fucking killed.
Yeah.
The
government would just let it go on for months. That was so crazy. That was when we were in high school, I think.
That's the kind of shit that can only happen if you're a right-wing white person that's doing that kind of shit.
Towards the end of the Obama era, they were really getting fucking pissed off. They're like, how much? I can't stand it any longer.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So he could have escaped into the wilderness also. That's the other thing, right? The area around New York City is very, at least suburban. It's very developed. There's a lot more people that could recognize you. If that guy slipped away into a car that nobody identified or even got on a bus and now he's in northern Utah and then he gets in a car and he drives it all the way to the top of Idaho and he stays there in a cabin all winter and then he comes out in March and he drives all the way back down south to Mexico, we'll never hear from this guy again.
Yeah, it's genuinely insane, and I can't wait to get more details on how he was able to escape and how this was all planned. Again, not to just be morbid and an ambulance chaser and stuff, but it is truly an almost perfect crime, seemingly. It's so rare in the modern era, or at least people convince themselves that these kind of crimes are impossible to pull off in the modern era because of surveillance and the increasing police presence. But you see something like this and you're it's actually possible to pull off, if you premeditate it and are intelligent, and if you go about it correctly and rely on the cops to be as useless as they typically are, and totally were in this case as well, seemingly. So it's genuinely wild. It's one of those things where it's holy shit, this can happen. This does happen, and this guy might even potentially get away with it, which is crazy. Obviously, I still imagine he'll be captured at the end of the day. We just got this update as well. Utah officials postponed press briefing because of rapid developments in case. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know what the rapid development might be, but I guess they had a planned afternoon press conference on the Charlie Kirk shooting, but they have suspended that. So it's possible they suspended it because they have no new information whatsoever, and they're fucking embarrassed and humiliated because everyone's going to be demanding answers and they have none. So that's possible. It's also possible that they do have information and they're acting on it.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there, sir.